Hey, it's me, MLB. Here is chapter 14 of Pinpoint. This one's titled A Place to Stay. Shoto and Yaoyorozu spent the better half of the day discussing possible plans to find you and save you, and Shoto was exhausted, mostly emotionally exhausted. Yaoyorozu, let's adjourn for the time being and resume tomorrow, he said, hanging his head, palms on the table. Paper and pens and graphs were drawn everywhere. I need to go home and prepare for tomorrow's mission. Okay, no problem, she said, sitting back on her chair. Shoto, if you need anything, please don't hesitate to call me, she said, still gravely concerned for him. He nodded and looked at her. Yaoyorozu, thank you for your assistance today. I greatly appreciate it. He placed his hands together on the table and bowed towards her, touching his forehead to the back of his hands. Oh my, Shoto, please, she gushed, don't mention it. I'll always be here for you. Her words stung as she said them, knowing her adoration for him was unrequited. He lifted his head and made a move to walk to the door. Thank you again, Yaoyorozu. I will meet you back here early tomorrow morning, he said before walking out. She sighed and looked down at her hands. I should have confessed to him years ago. Things may have ended up differently, if only he had known how I felt about him. Shoto walked back to his house, opening the door and heading inside. He absent-mindedly tossed his keys into the bowl at the end of the table and then walked to the kitchen fridge. Suddenly he stopped. He looked across to the papers that he had placed at the end of the kitchen counter. They had been disturbed. He froze and listened intently, his eyes scanning the darkened lounge room across from the kitchen, and he moved stealthily towards the archway that connected the two rooms. As he entered the darkness, an arm shot out and barely missed him. He pivoted on his left foot and reached out, grabbing someone by the shirt. He pulled that person into the light and held them in a lock. Identify yourself, he growled. You're under arrest, the person said, struggling to get out of Shoto's grasp. Are you a police officer? Shoto asked sternly, reaching into the man's pocket. He pulled out the struggling man's wallet and flipped it open. It had a police license and a badge pinned on the inside of it. Which department are you with? Shoto asked again firmly. Plainclothes detective, the man replied. Do you know who I am? Shoto said, anger rising in his voice. Yes, sir, I know who you are, the detective replied, slightly fearfully. So you are aware that you cannot arrest a hero without a warrant and sufficient evidence of misconduct? Shoto spat vehemently. Who sent you? He said, his voice low and threatening. The inspector did, the now terrified detective replied. Shoto released the detective with a shove, and then the detective reached for his shoulder and rubbed it tenderly as he rotated it to make sure it was okay. You tell the inspector to stop harassing me or I'll press charges, Shoto threatened, raising his left hand and activating his quirk slightly, red and yellow flames flickering along his skin. He won't let you get away with that easily, Shoto, the detective said, his confidence returning slowly now that he had a bit of distance between him and the fearsome hero. He's tracking you. He'll hunt you down till he has you behind bars, he added with authority. Get out of my house, Shoto snarled, looking extremely menacing with his arms still slightly ablaze, the flames causing his eyes to glow in the darkness. The detective got out of there quick smart, and Shoto lowered his arm and deactivated his quirk, walking back to the kitchen and picking up his keys. He went to his room and grabbed the hessonite stone, wrapped in small fabric cloth, and left his house. He walked quickly to the convenience store nearby and bought a SIM card, prying the back of his phone open and then putting the new SIM in before dialing Yaoyorozu's number. Her voice greeted his ears. She sounded suspicious. Yaoyorozu, it's me, Shoto. Shoto? What are you doing ringing from a new number? This is from a temporary SIM card. The inspector is tracking me and I need to be inconspicuous. Yaoyorozu, I have a huge request to ask of you. Sure, Shoto, she replied. I need a place to stay, for the time being. His voice trailed off. Shoto, please, stay with me. It's no trouble at all, Yaoyorozu said, almost too enthusiastically. Are you sure it's okay? Shoto asked, his voice shrouded with uncertainty. I don't want to put you out or anything. No, not at all, Yaoyorozu implored. Please, my address is 512 546th Street, Block 4. Thank you so much. I will be there within the hour. I'll do a lap around the block to make sure I am not being followed, he said before hanging up. Shoto took the SIM from his phone and put it back in his pocket before changing the setting on his phone and disabling the internet. He then headed off with nothing but his phone, keys and wallet, making sure to keep to back streets and stopping frequently to double-check his surroundings. Eventually he made it to Yaoyorozu's flat, and after doing a lap, rang the doorbell. "Hi Shoto, please come up," Yaoyorozu said, buzzing him in. Oh no, what's gonna happen? Best to stay tuned for chapter 15, coming tomorrow.